He preaches modesty. He lives like a monarch, Iran's supreme leader. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei doesn't just command an entire nation, he owns it. Behind closed gates on Palestine Street, past security cameras and walls laced with sensors, lies a compound unlike anything in the Middle East. Private gardens stretched like a royal oasis, a library the size of a mansion, a personal car collection worth more than the GDP of some African nations, BMWs, Mercedes, a Porsche Cayenne, all armored, all real. And that's just scratching the surface. Sources estimate his empire is worth 95 billion, not million, billion. That's richer than Elon Musk at his peak, richer than any monarch. Yet the average Iranian earns less than $250 a month, queuing for bread while their supreme leader dines in gold-trimmed solitude. So how did a boy born into a one-room basement in Mashhad rise to become the most powerful, wealthiest, and untouchable figure in Iran? And now, with Donald Trump back in office and openly calling Khamenei an easy target, the game has changed. In the next 12 minutes, we'll reveal the 8 secrets Iran doesn't want the world to know. From ghost armies to private jets, offshore empires to assassination plots. This isn't just a story of power. It's the story of how absolute power corrupts absolutely. And at minute 11, we'll show you why the supreme leader of Iran is quietly begging for survival from behind a curtain. From basement to power, the humble beginnings. Before the gold, before the jets, before the $95 billion empire, there was a basement. Ali Khamenei was born in 1939 in Mashhad, Iran, to a family of strict religious scholars. His father, Syed Javad, was respected in theology but lived on next to nothing. Their home, a 65 square meter flat, their dining table often a cloth on the floor, serving nothing but bread and raisins. For Khamenei, childhood wasn't framed in opulence but in shadows and austerity. Yet something stirred in that basement, a hunger for something more not material, but meaningful. He absorbed theology with fire in his eyes, speaking in public before he was 20. But for all his knowledge, no one predicted he'd rise above the scholars or above the state. Until 1979, the Islamic Revolution cracked Iran wide open, and Khamenei, standing beside Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini, saw opportunity in the chaos. He wasn't the most charismatic, nor the most revered, but he was disciplined, loyal, and when Khomeini died in 1989, Khamenei, quiet, underestimated, seized the mantle. He didn't inherit a title. He redefined it. And here's where the transformation begins, from a man of prayer to a man of unchecked power. But how do you go from student of Islam to ruler for life? That's where the real empire begins. The rise of an untouchable. When Ayatollah Khomeini died in 1989, Iran stood at a crossroads. The revolutionary fire had dimmed. The war with Iraq had ended, and the country was bracing for a power vacuum. Few expected Ali Khamenei to fill it. He wasn't the senior-most cleric. His religious credentials were questioned, yet, through a series of behind-the-scenes maneuvers, and some say, orchestrated pressure, he was appointed supreme leader, not through divine decree, but political design. And from that moment on, Khamenei began building something unprecedented, a theocratic monarchy draped in revolutionary rhetoric. Unlike presidents who face elections, term limits, and public scrutiny, Khamenei was chosen once and rules until death. No checks, no balances. His authority isn't symbolic, it's total. He appoints the head of the judiciary, the commanders of the armed forces, the directors of state television. He alone can declare war or end one. His words shape foreign policy, economic strategy, even what books are allowed on shelves, and the most powerful weapon in his arsenal, the IRGC, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. While the army serves the nation, the IRGC serves him. Billions in budgets, thousands of troops, and tentacles that stretch from Tehran to Damascus, Beirut to Baghdad. This isn't just religious leadership, it's empire management. But every empire has its paradox. In Khamenei's, while preaching resistance, he was quietly constructing a life of extraordinary luxury. And the deeper you dig, the more the contradiction begins to rot from the inside. Coming up next, the mansions, the jets, the gold, and the shadow family empire that makes royal dynasties look humble. Luxury behind the turban. He wears simple robes, but behind the curtain, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei lives like Middle Eastern royalty. His private mansion on Palestine Street isn't just a home, it's a fortress. Think grand gardens, marble floors, a sprawling library, and a car collection that rivals Hollywood's elite. Sources list a BMW 7 Series, a Mercedes-Benz SL, a Porsche Cayenne all armored, total value close to $1 million. But this isn't about taste, it's about control. Khamenei's true wealth funneled through religious foundations, offshore accounts, and shadow trusts is estimated at $95 billion. That's more than the GDP of 120 countries. Yet the paradox is chilling while the average Iranian survives on less than $10 a day. Their supreme leader bankrolls luxury with zero accountability. He preaches resistance, lives indulgence, and no one, not presidents, not parliaments, not even protesters, can challenge him. Because beneath the turban lies a cartel. And it begins with his own blood, the Dynasty, Iran's billion-dollar bloodline. Ali Khamenei doesn't just rule Iran, his entire family profits from it. At the center is Mojtaba Khamenei, his second son, officially unknown, unofficially feared. He controls vast oil revenues, runs Iran's largest mall, and holds an estimated net worth of over $3 billion. Mojtaba owns private jets, racehorses, and real estate stretching from Tehran to Dubai. His brothers aren't far behind. Masoud Khamenei manages the regime's digital propaganda, but also controls $400 million in offshore accounts. Sam, the youngest, quietly manipulates local markets through front companies worth millions. Even Khamenei's daughters, though shielded from media, enjoy multi-million-dollar salons, foreign jewelry collections, and access to private security details. And then there's Hassan, the supreme leader's uncle, who controls Iran's broadcasting procurement and reportedly pockets 7% of Sony's $600 million sales inside the country. This isn't a family, it's an enterprise. While Iranians suffer under inflation and repression, the Khameneis fly private, shop European, and hoard gold. Their wealth isn't hidden, it's protected. By fear, by force, by a supreme leader who built a dynasty behind the veil of religion. The Ghost Army, protection or paranoia. He once walked Tehran's corridors with confidence. Today, he's vanished. Ayatollah Khamenei is no longer seen in public without layers of invisible security. According to leaks, he's been moved to an undisclosed underground facility guarded not by the IRGC, but by a top-secret elite force so covert. Even Iran's generals didn't know it existed. Why fear? After a series of assassinations targeting Iran's top scientists and commanders, allegedly by Israel, Tehran believes Mossad has infiltrated deep into the regime, deep enough that only a force invisible to its own government could be trusted to guard the supreme leader. One official confessed anonymously, he's not in hiding, but he knows he could die any day. This isn't just security, it's survival mode. Drone strikes, cyber breaches, precision hits. The message from Tel Aviv is clear. Khamenei is no longer untouchable. And now his paranoia has become protocol. His speeches pre-recorded, his appearances rerouted, his presence managed like a state secret. The supreme leader of Iran, once feared across the region, is now shielded like a fugitive, not a ruler. Trump's return, the threat goes public. In 2020, Donald Trump vetoed an Israeli plan to assassinate Ali Khamenei. In 2025, he changed his mind publicly. Now back in office, Trump no longer speaks in code. During a recent press conference, he stated bluntly, "We know exactly where the so-called supreme leader is hiding." Then came 4 words that shook Tehran. Not for now. Those words weren't policy, they were strategy. A threat wrapped in plausible deniability. This isn't mere political theater. It's psychological warfare. Trump called Khamenei an easy target. Israeli intelligence confirmed they have the tech, the access, the behavioral maps. Even if Khamenei avoids phones, his inner circle doesn't. Every message, every movement tracked, every delay in response measured. Behind the rhetoric lies a real possibility, a surgical strike. Not a war, but a message. Former Israeli security chief Yaakov Amadror described 3 plans: bunker airstrike, apartment drone, convoy satellite-guided missile. Khamenei knows the game has changed. He's no longer negotiating from strength, but from fear. Every quiet day might be the calm before a drone, and every word Trump tweets could be the signal. The illusion of strength, a leader in retreat. On June 18, 2025, Iran's state TV aired a video of Khamenei, but something was off. There was no live, no audience, no national flag, just a frail, tired man seated behind brown curtains, reciting words that felt rehearsed not for impact, but for reassurance. This wasn't leadership, it was survival theater. Insiders later revealed the broadcast was filmed in a temporary studio. Far from his traditional seat of power, facial analysis showed visible tension. Security analysts believe the location sits beneath a heavily fortified IRGC media hub, buried deep in central Tehran. Why the secrecy? Because the once untouchable ruler is now cornered. Israeli missiles have dismantled key command centers. U.S. drones circle the region. Internal unrest simmers. And worse, Khamenei is losing control of the narrative. For decades, he ruled through fear and divine image. But fear now cuts both ways. He no longer dictates headlines, he hides from them. His enemies know it. His allies whisper it. Even his propaganda machine, once flawless, now leaks panic. He's not ruling from a palace. He's managing his legacy from a bunker. And the illusion of strength is cracking. The final move, survival by surrender. When power slips through your fingers, you have 2 choices, fight or vanish. Khamenei is choosing something in between submission disguised as strategy. Leaked intelligence suggests he has dispatched envoys to Qatar, Geneva, even Moscow, pleading for diplomatic lifelines, quiet talks, back-channel deals, anything to halt the strikes without appearing weak. But Donald Trump, he exposed it all. They even offered to come to the White House. Trump posted, torching any illusion of strength. Tehran scrambled to deny it, but the damage was irreversible. Now, Khamenei faces the ultimate paradox in a culture where shame is worse than defeat. He must accept humiliation to survive. He's gambling everything. Pause uranium enrichment. Allow inspectors. Signal peace. Let Trump claim a bloodless victory, all to buy time. Time to rebuild. Time to deceive. Because in Iran's doctrine, deception is permitted if it preserves the regime. So even if a new deal is inked, make no mistake, the ambition doesn't die. It hides, it adapts, it waits. And as Khamenei clings to the last threads of his empire, the world watches a man built on myth slowly unravel in silence. The fall behind the curtain. He once claimed he'd sacrifice his soul for Islam. Now, he's sacrificing his pride for survival. Ali Khamenei, once the shadow puppeteer of the Middle East, is no longer untouchable. Behind every pre-recorded video, every guarded whisper, lies a man cornered by the very fear he once instilled. The supreme leader of Iran is not standing tall. He's hiding behind curtains, bunkers, and ghost armies faking strength in front of cameras while negotiating in secret behind them. This isn't just the story of a billionaire cleric. It's a case study in how power corrodes, isolates, and ultimately devours itself. So, let me ask you this. Is survival strength? Or is it surrender? What do you think is the real legacy of Ali Khamenei? Let me know in the comments.